Vice President Stockman. Here. Chair Brown.
Here.
Chief of Staff Sanders.
Present.
Chair Franz.
Here.
Chair Newby. Here. Senator Johnson. I'm here. Senator Splitzoser. Here. Senator Thapa. Here. Senator Wards.
Here.
Senator Martin. Senator Haynes.
Here.
Senator Sukup.
Here.
Senator Annenberger.
Here.
Senator Hennick.
Here.
Senator Tibbetts. And Advisor Johnson.
Here.
Dean of Students Dr. Grant.
Here.
Right, moving on to approval of the agenda. As you can see, we only have one new business item, few items on the for the good of the future. It's just related to the end of the year stuff. So are there any amendments to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Vice President Stockman?
To approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Second by Senator Tibbetts. Is there dissent to approving the agenda? Seeing none, agenda approved as written. Approval of minutes. Unfortunately, we don't have minutes. Office Manager Peralta has been struggling with some end of the semester stuff, so we will get that to you via email by next Monday. So, moving on to public hearing. Any public hearing? Seeing none, moving on to our new business item. So, our only new business item today is the letter to the Minnesota State Board of Trustees on tuition and fees consultation for fiscal year 19. So, for those of you who don't know, this is the letter that ISL Student Body President had to write on behalf of the Senate to the Minnesota State Board of Trustees and the Chancellor, explaining how our consultation process went, the consultation that Vice President of Finance and Administration Karen Snorek came here to do twice, and what our feedback as students or student representative is on the tuition and fees for next year and the entire budget. So here it goes. On behalf of the Bemidji State University Student Senate, I respectfully submit to you our budget consultation letter for the fiscal year 2019. We were consulted multiple times by our Vice President of Finance, Karen Snorek. We were first consulted on February 17, 2018, where Vice President Vivi Snorek attended our Senate meeting, where 20 student senators were consulted on the projected figures for FY19. Even though the numbers at the time were preliminary, this was a great opportunity to really dive into the possible changes and ask a lot of questions. We felt very satisfied about that meeting and left feeling well informed about how the projected budget will be used in different areas. Vivi Snorek attended our Student Senate meeting again on March 28, 2018, and we were then consulted as an entire Senate and in the presence of other students in the gallery, 27 students in total. Our Dean of Students, Dr. Grant, was also present and helped answer questions when appropriate. The information present was using a detailed and very easy to understand presentation on the screen. We were extremely satisfied with the professionalism, the transparency, and the willingness to answer any and all questions exhibited by VP Snorek throughout the consultation. We were well informed by VP Snorek about the Minnesota State ask of $10 million for campus support and $21 million to support the ISRS Next Gen. During the consultation process, we've been well informed about the use of and the need for ISRS Next Gen. The information provided by our administration matches accurately with the multiple discussions we have had among our student representatives on the importance of replacing our out-of-date enterprise technology at BSU and at a statewide level. We understand that our undergraduate tuition will remain unchanged for FY19. However, our graduate tuition will increase from $403.50 to $419.60 per credit. So now we're going to talk about the fees. So Dr. Grant and Vice Johnson, if you see somewhere there's a mistake with the numbers, please feel free to help me out. Our administration is requesting a 2% increase in the student activity fee, a 2% increase in the student union fee, and a 1.8% increase in the health center fee, a 2.93% increase in room, and a 3% increase in board. The technology fee and the athletic fee remain unchanged for FY19. In total, our fee increases will not exceed 2%. Is that correct?
It is correct. It's changed to what this study we for 3%. We have 2.9. That's correct.
The technology and athletic fee remain unchanged for FY19. In total, our fee increases will not exceed 2%. Our administration has also informed us about the student fee referendum, which requires a 51% support from the students via a campus-wide vote. While we respect and understand the administration's position, we have our concerns. Although it is a comfort that undergraduate tuition is frozen, we disagree with the increase in graduate tuition. At Bemidji State University, our graduate students have already expressed concerns about their financial difficulties due to lack of adequate compensation and the opportunities available to them. Therefore, increasing the cost of education will be an additional burden to them, which is unfair when they have expressed concerns about their return. It is our strong belief that this increasing tuition should not be the trend and that our institution needs to explore other ways to meet its financial requirements. As far as the fee increases are concerned, we understand the need for them and we recognize the crucial role they play in enhancing student experience at BSU. Despite that, we urge the administration of BSU and the Minnesota State System Office to seriously consider alternative revenue streams and creative cost savings. We're very grateful for the opportunity to share our feedback, and we greatly appreciate Vice President Snorek and Dean of Students Dr. Grant for keeping us so well informed. We want to stress here that while we disagree with the outcome, we feel very strongly that the process was fair, professional, transparent, and positive. Please feel free to contact me if there are any questions.
What's the date of your life?
Yes, sir.
Jay from title.
Yes. Right. Success.
You can just say Associate Vice President. Well, yeah.
Senator Suko.
I have two things. Can you scroll back up to the top for me? Okay. Never mind, because I see that it's correct. Then go back down the second page. Stop there. In that first paragraph, about halfway through, it says, "And it is our strong belief that this is increasing tuition." This is it, that this increase in tuition.
Yep.
Our tuition increase.
Something like that. It's increasing.
Is that better?
Yes.
Today.
I think also in that sentence, you have to say our institution needs, but
I'll go to a grammar check before I send it anyway. I don't want to spend too much time on the grammar today, but if there's any concern or comment about the intent of the letter and what it says, do you agree? Does that accurately represent our consensus? Senator.
While you're reading through, the one thing that I would disagree on is the fact that I was well informed about where the money is being allocated. I understand this, the meeting, but I tried to reach out to Karen Snorak and ask her about, I met her up in the hall, I tried to set up a meeting with her, there was nothing, and I tried to understand where the money was going, and I got nothing. I do not feel like I was well informed. I can leave it at that.
I don't know
Take that
about
feedback as
what
is.
actually happened, and I'm sure Vice President Snorek probably didn't have the schedule or didn't have the time. Otherwise, I'm sure she would have facilitated that request. Although you could have come to me, and I urge any of you, if you want to talk about that, I am willing to explain where that money is going, because I have had a conversation with her, and she explained it to me, and I've taken notes at the meeting too. Okay, so, Chief Staff Sanders.
I move to approve the letter as written.
This does not require approval, so I'm not asking for approval, just asking for feedback, because I mean, if we want to do a vote, we can.
Well,
Then it's supposed
if you're asking for feedback, I mean, I would agree. I don't think that we kind of collectively ever agreed on anything. It's not that we came to a consensus collectively that we understand the needs for like a 3% increase in board.
Okay.
I'm just providing you that feedback.
Sure, then, with that, because you said that, I think we should do a vote. And that way we will have a clear understanding. And if it fails, then we can move into discussion and talk more about what we could. Senator Thomas.
So, just for clarification, is it a vote on if we all agree, or is it a
I'll
vote
vote to
on?
approve the letter.
Okay.
Usually wouldn't require, but since we might not, we're having issues, that's why. So is there a motion for that again? Senator Suko?
I move to vote on passing or not passing, sorry.
It has to be either or. It has to be.
Passing this letter.
Okay. So Senator Suko motions to move to pass or approve the letter. Is there a second? Senator Tibbetts, discussion. Seeing none, is there dissent to move into a vote? Okay, so we will move into a vote. Everyone in favor of approving this letter as it's written, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Motion passes. All right, moving on to reports. We don't have all the sections of reports. We just thought that it's the last meeting, so we're just gonna ask if there's any report related to anything, could be cabinet, could be student organizations, or anything. Are there any reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to For the Good of the Future. So, it's been a year, and some of you were here from the start of this academic year. Some of you came along the way, joined Senate. Probably didn't have the experience initially, but I've seen all of you develop, and you guys have accomplished so much this year. And I just cannot believe that we have accomplished so much, because when I was just thinking about it, I was like, okay, maybe we've done a few things, but when we actually talked about it at our cabinet meeting and we came up with a list of things that we've done, it ended up being a few slides at least. So let's just go over the journey and the accomplishments. I just want to do this because a lot of times our students who are not well informed or not that involved, they don't know what Student Senate does for them. They don't know what our job is or what we can do or what impact, how much impact we can have if we don't see it clearly. So hopefully having this and promoting this, so we plan to promote like all our accomplishments with on our social media with different posters and stuff like that the last few days of this semester. So hopefully this will help. So first slide talks about fall 2017. Fall 2017, we started off with not a full table. We had a lot of turnover, but we still moved on and we worked on our structural reforms. And we updated the Constitution. We added 3 new HRL senator seats to increase our representation. We changed certain positions. The chief of staff was introduced, and it really turned out good. And overall, we made a lot of reforms on how we do things. We introduced the orientation process for new senators. And then which really helped, I hope, helped you guys go through the Roberts rules and the training. And then we started reforming the elections process, created the Elections Commission to create a more fair and transparent election. Before I move on, can I suspend Robert's rules? Is there a dissent to suspend Robert's rules? Robert's rules suspended for the next 15 minutes. So jump in and talk about, you can talk about whatever you've worked on. If you want to share something, if you have feedback on how you feel about our accomplishments, feel free. So after we reformed the elections process, we started, during that, we started our first ever strategic plan, which we initially thought we're going to complete end of fall semester. But then we realized that giving it more time would help us understand a lot of the challenges that come towards the end of the year. So that's why we did it, and we completed the strategic plan last meeting, which is great. Then we worked on researching Beaver Points, the first incentive program for student involvement, at least the first one that I've seen in my time here. And I want to thank Vice President Stockman for all the hard work he's put in as campus affairs chair at that time, and Connor Newby, who was Chair Newby, who was part of that committee at that time, along with Senator Stout, who has been working on it. It was just the 3 of them working on it the whole semester. They've researched different schools, got data and percentages of how the student involvement is increased in other schools. And then we went to the administration, we spoke to the IT department. Our biggest supporter in this was HMU. So thank you, Nina, and the rest of HMU. So it took a lot to actually figure out the details, but then Nina was the one who pushed us. She was like, okay, let's go get this funding and let's start this up next semester because honestly, I was thinking it's gonna take more time. So thank you again for pushing us. So in between the fall semester and spring semester, we had some challenges. We had turnovers. We had a lot of our veteran senators who graduated and they had to leave, so we lacked experience. And literally almost all of our cabinet left because they had to. They've done a good job too. It's just that we were in that situation and want to challenge, but thankfully, all of you have worked so hard to recruit new members and reach out to other students. We turned over our lack of, I remember it was, we needed about 14 more members, and we turned it around to needing 8 members in like a few weeks. And then we had a brand new cabinet with a brand new vice president. And it was, I was really scared, and Nina and I were talking about that, how are we gonna do this? How are they gonna be able to catch up, and we need to train them. But motivation, determination, and commitment, along with teamwork, all these combined, I have the best cabinet I could ask for. So thanks to all of my cabinet members. Couldn't have done everything that we did this year without you guys. And all of our new senator who came in, who never had the experience of being in a student government. Some of you were new to even involvement or getting involved in a professional setting, as Jim told me. But you guys have phenomenally done the job of being a student representative, a true voice of the students. So thank you all. And so moving on, in spring 2018, we launched Hero Points. The first day at Bob, I don't know if Chair Newby remembers that video, and then other cabinet members were also sitting at the table, and we had our first Hero Point event. And since then, with the help of HMU staff, a lot of student volunteers, we were able to finally finish it yesterday, our first successful semester of having Hero Point program. I feel like I'm talking about myself. And thanks to Chief of Staff Sanders for introducing the new student-centered communication platform. Teams has helped us organize ourselves, and yes, we did have difficulty getting used to new technology, but we finally had a professional platform to communicate through, which I believe personally has increased at least my productivity in communicating with everybody. Then we became one of the first student governments to sign the affirmative consent bill, thanks to Chair Friends and Chief of Staff Sanders for authoring the bill, and thanks to all of you for understanding this concept and supporting it. Then we passed a bill for excused absences for religious absence, which made us the first as many of you remember, this bill probably took the longest time. Months after months, weeks after weeks, we had to table it. Then it got reintroduced as a new bill, completely new bill. But all that hard work of waiting and being patient and doing the research really helped. And that's why we were able to take the same bill to the state level, and all the other Minnesota State University student government supported our bill, and they're trying to do the same thing in their universities. Back to affirmative consent. We started affirmative consent campaign first week of April. Thanks to Chair Friends and everybody else who's volunteered in that event. Thanks to Chair Friends for actually organizing that event and taking the initiative, getting everybody together, getting all the panelists together. It was a great event, and honestly, the promotions that we had related to our wristbands and having about 90 students attend the affirmative consent campaign, affirmative consent panel. And the fact that we received that exposure, we know that we were most talked about because students from Mankato reached out to us so that we bring our wristbands to delegates. All the Students United staff reached out to us. They have, if you check the hashtag We Are Bemidji State, hashtag affirmative consent, we have numerous students who have shared that hashtag on social media with our branding and our campaign. Students from BSU and outside of BSU, other universities in the mid-state system. And we also made a video which is ready, and we were just not able to upload it to social media yet, but it's 100% complete. I wish we had it right now to show you, but it was too big to actually send to someone. But hopefully during this weekend, you'll be able to watch that video on social media. And more things we did, not only just spring 2018, actually throughout the year, we did more proactive federal and state advocacy. We wrote letters for, we released a public DACA statement and a press release expressing our opinion on DACA and the fact that the president, the United States president, was trying to get rid of the program. And then we released statements on Prosper Act. We went to state advocacy and advocated for affordable textbooks, and we advocated for increased Pell Grants and Perkins loan. And then I had to go to DC. I went to DC, and along with all the other student leaders from Minnesota State, and again, advocated for not having Prosper become a law, which it didn't. Because of all our efforts, at least it played some part in it, I like to believe, is Prosper did not go through the House, so it didn't pass. Then we introduced bi-weekly student advocacy forums for 3 months. We started it late January. We had our last one, I think, after spring break. Actually, with the affirmative consent was the last one. And then we started reaching out to student organizations. I wish we would have done it earlier in the year, but it's still a start, and hopefully next administration will carry that on and reach out to student organizations from the start of the year. And we rebranded Student Senate, thanks to the Public Relations Committee and PR Chair, Chair Brown, for doing such an amazing job of reaching out to our students through social media. And everything that I've asked for, that I need this poster, I need this, I got it the next day. It was, never did I have to tell Chair Brown to do something twice. So I really appreciate your efforts and your motivation to actually meet the deadlines and get it done.
Good job.
And then we did the resiliency commitment. So as part of the second leg of the carbon commitment, thanks to Senator Haynes and Chair Newby and Senator Tibbetts. So we passed the resiliency commitment. We were the first Minnesota State University student government to do so. I know this because we brought this up in our last board meeting, and I asked all the student body presidents from all the 7 Minnesota universities, 6 other Minnesota universities, and they didn't even know what the resiliency commitment was. Then finally, last week, we we supported the creation of the first technology fee committee, which is supposed to provide student input in decision-making, making the decision of how to use the technology fee and what the budget and the fee structure would look like in the future, which is really important because if we're representing students, we need student input in how our money is allocated. But we're still not done. So even though classes are done, finals starting, we have already shot most of the Love Has No Label campaign video. We've had a lot of students volunteer who participated in the video. It just needs to be edited, and we have one more final take that we're going to do later today. So it should be out next week as well. We also took a few shots yesterday during Beaver Points to create a small promotional video, which we could hopefully, if it's good enough, we could hopefully show it during orientation so that incoming students know about Beaver Points and start to get involved in the start.
Just kind of Beaver Points real quick. I just want to take this opportunity while working on Robert's Rules to thank Ash for all the hard work you put in yesterday for Beaver Points, as well as Sonda
It's all you guys.
and Alexis. Yeah.
It's all you
The
guys.
4 of us had a rough day yesterday. We worked well, we got through it, but I just really want to take the time to thank you guys all for cooperation, teamwork, and helping out and making sure that ran as smoothly as it did.
And finally, we have been working on the Student Senate website. There's still some work left. Hopefully, we'll try our best to finish that work by the end of the semester. If not, I'm sure the next administration will carry on the work that we've started. The things that we left unfinished. They might not be complete accomplishments, but there's still progress in the right direction. We researched Include Ed, the Academic Affairs Committee, with the guidance of Chair Friends. Researched Include Ed and other affordability programs, and it did not reach a conclusion yet. We did not reach success, but yeah, go ahead.
Larry's got something. Are you hear that?
Actually, according to the bookstore guide that they had, Nathan, they're planning on implementing it for next semester, but only for classes, like only online textbooks, and only people that are only teachers that decide to opt into it. Okay. So, as a trial run, online textbooks is what it sounds like. Nothing has been made official yet, but that's what they're pushing.
That's great. Good news, good to hear. The car share program, I've had multiple meetings with the Enterprise car rental company. Coincidentally, so they were no-show for like a month since the last time I spoke to them was before spring break. They weren't returning my emails or my calls. Coincidentally, yesterday they called and I missed the call. I was in the office at that time. We were down in Sunsplash, and she said that she wants to still talk. So I'll get that information, what she has, pass it on to the next administration, so that they can carry on the work that we started. The weekly ride assistance program, which was Senator Thapa's idea. And the Inclusivity Committee has been discussing this initiative, and it is unfortunate that we weren't able to actually get enough data to support a program like that. Senator Thaba and I have had multiple talks about it, multiple conversations on whether to do an actual bill or not. When we realized that we don't have enough information and enough feedback from the students, we decided to leave it for the next administration. But we do have some direction that we provided in the Student Senate strategic plan on how the next administration or future administrations can go about it. Hopefully that helps. And then, yeah, go ahead.
I met a gentleman at a conference who runs a program sounding similar to what we do at the University of Colorado Boulder. I have a phone number with him tomorrow.
Are you talking about the right assistance program?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving time for the state finance.
We're still not.
Friday.
We're working to the last minute. That's why I love about you guys. And last but not least, we're talking about a prayer / spiritual practice room. But again, we didn't want to jump into a bill just because we wanted to accomplish something. We wanted to make informed decisions from the start of the year. We didn't want to pass bills for the sake of passing them. We actually wanted to pass bills which would have big picture impact. So again, another unfinished business for the next administration, but hopefully the information that we have gathered, all of our senators gathered this year, would help accomplish these goals next year if the next administration chooses to follow them. And that is all the accomplishments. Have I missed anything? I think I can't believe that all these goals actually became a reality. But nonetheless, I'm not going to say that our job is done. We always have more to do, and we can always do better, especially in terms of reaching out to students, especially in terms of getting student feedback, and actually involving them in the decision-making process for bills and other legislations. Now, it says President's farewell speech. I don't actually have a speech. I was working on everything for today, so I didn't get the time to prepare a speech. Although, as I've done in the last few months, every month I address the student body through KVSU. I will do another presidential address, the farewell address. Depends on how many people are actually going to see it, but I'll do my part. I'll address the student body, and I'll probably have better things to say at that time. But now, all I want to say is this year has been a great experience for me personally, not only as being the student body president, but actually being part of something bigger than myself. Because the work that you guys do here, no matter what position you are in, if you're the president, the vice president, cabinet member, or a senator, office manager, it doesn't matter. You're all important. You're all very important because what you're doing is very selfless. In my opinion, it's very selfless. You're doing service for your peers. You're serving the student body and acting as their official voice and trying to make those people be heard who are not able to make themselves heard. So it's been an amazing journey. I hope I was able to serve all of you. I've tried my best. Obviously, there's always opportunity for growth. So I will take lesson from this experience and I'll try to help myself grow in the future. Thank you all. Now we have what's. Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask, first, are we still doing Robert's?
No, we're not.
Suspended, okay, good. When is your address gonna be at PBSU?
Hopefully Monday, if KBSU is able to arrange that. If not, sometime that works for my schedule and their schedule next week. So, does anyone really have a more speak? Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been like this, I've only been in Senate for a semester, and I was like a senator for 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks, and then I was PR chair. I think like just the help from like everyone around helped me a lot, like 'cause I had no idea what I was doing at all. Still kind of don't, but the help from like everyone, the fact that like, well, Ash, especially like sitting in on my meetings, like kind of guiding where he thought we should go, where I thought we should go, and I think helped a lot, and like especially like my committee too, Rebecca, Cassandra. We had a couple other people at Gail, and we had a couple other people headed up with me, but without them, I don't think I'd be able to get anything. I'm gonna say retweet.
Yeah, I just want to take the time to thank my committee members for all the hard work they put in. You guys have done a wonderful job. You guys have really been great team players, very enthusiastic, very passionate, very willing to do anything and everything for the body, for the city body, for the students. I really want to take the time to thank you guys for all the work you've done, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
In my technically 2.5 years of being on Senate, I've never seen a group be so cohesive and positive in my 3 years of being here. It's pretty great. You guys did such an amazing job, and what we did in this semester alone covered a whole year. So the amount of work that we did in this semester, imagine that for a whole year. And that's what makes me keep going. That's what drives me is you guys. And I just want to say that.
I guess I'll go now. You guys are going to make you a lot, but it really comes from the bottom of my heart. And I know my part on getting teams, pretty much forcing it down everyone's throat and getting off of Facebook. And I know it was tough and hard, and it's definitely a learning experience, but I just thanks guys so very much for allowing me to help you all with whatever you needed, to be an ear and to allow me to get that platform going. So y'all are amazing.
It's a pleasure.
Any other comments from anybody?
Can I speak? I'm an advisor. So this is being my first year in this new role, but one of the things that attracted me most to not just this particular role, but the Mindy State in general, is that we really that's what I do, and that's what I love. And so I want to thank you for the opportunity to work with this group of students and to support you in a way that because I think this first year is really just an opportunity for me to sit back and understand the culture of this group and how we work together. I was really inspired because it feels like this year we saw two student senates, between fall semester and spring semester, and to watch how the groups have worked together and how much they've accomplished throughout this year is just really phenomenal. So I echo the cabinet's thank you to everybody across the board. It's amazing to be being an advisor for a student senate, because it's always something I've watched from the outside, but to see it from the inside, and I can just really underscore to you really the value of your voices, because administration is is listening to you, and you truly are the voice of the students to them. You know, they look to your feedback, your bills, your opinions to help them want to get that student feedback. They look for student representatives on university-wide committees. They look for student senate to be that first. And so, you know, even if you feel like, you know, meetings are long and there's too many requirements and too many things to do, the impact of what you do really truly is there. Because I see that at other campuses that I've worked at, have particularly different pieces of really listening to. Thank you for your work. Thank you, voices. I especially want to thank the cabinet, because again, they gave me a whole second layer of learning coming into this role, and I just echo what's already been said by Ash, and just the high volume of work that this cabinet has done all throughout the year, but particularly in this semester. So, like any good student affairs professional, we love a few leadership quotes. So I just have like a little like that. So I looked for a good leadership quote that was made me think of this group, and the one that I picked for student cabinet was from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Do not go where the path may lead, but where there is a path in the trail. And I feel like that just is a symbol of this year and what you have done, because again, huge turnover in student senate, and really this group has just stepped up. I mean, you can't Senate-wide, but particularly the cabinet, I feel like has really stepped up to what are we doing to change and impact on this campus. So I have these for the candidates. So Connor, Sam, Krista, Alexis, Corey, Sharon, and Opalina, who are joining us today. And then I have another one for Ash, because Ash is not following us next year, although he will, I'm sure, remain interested in all the things that we're doing. I just have to say, especially to Ash, like, what a lucky opportunity for me for this to be my first year working with Student Senate, and to have you as a role model and as someone to work with. You are just an amazing student leader, and the professionalism that you have brought this year, and the extremely high standards that you brought to this group. I just really respect that, respect you as a leader, as a person, and really look forward to future years when you will look back to your experience. For me, as an advisor, but I think to you, the whole group, I think you've set some real cultural change in this group. So, being that you're leaving us, I picked a separate quote that said, Thoreau, go confidently in the direction of
Means a lot.
Yeah. So thank you. And come back. You're not coming back next year. We've got open opportunities. If nothing else, you know the power of this group. So even if you're not serving in an official role, stay in touch with us. Spread the word about the good things the Student Senate will continue to do. And if we're not doing good things, you hold us accountable, right?
Thank you, Nia, for all the kind words. And I just want to say, when I became president, I thought, okay, I don't have much experience in the Senate. Because honestly, I was here for 2 months and then I got elected. So it was a very new position for me. And I was thinking I'm going to rely on people who have experience. And then I thought of the advisor, and then got a new advisor. And honestly, we were both nervous. We were talking about it initially. We were both nervous, and we were like, okay, it's a new position for both of us. Let's work together. And I think the things that we have achieved are personally what the work that I was able to do would not have been possible with the support that Nina provided. Every time she pushed us, as I said earlier, she pushed us to do better and to be prudent and get things done. And she just inspired us to take the leap and do it. So this is, honestly, I've been a part of 6 different organizations at BSU, been in executive positions for 5. And I've never seen any other advisors work so closely with the group and be not only involved, but like really help us and ask every single time, do you need anything from me? Every week, Nina would text me and say, do you need anything from me? What else do you need? Even though we had a meeting about it like 2 days ago. So thank you, Nina. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, so before we move on, I have these awards. I don't know if we have done this in the past, if we have awarded the student senators. I haven't seen it last year. So I thought, you know, senators have done so many things, or they work so hard, they put in those hours, go and talk to those students and actually write those bills, come with those ideas, but they don't get any recognition. Sure, they can say in their resumes they've been part of Student Senate, but they don't have a physical award or something to represent their accomplishments. So that's why myself, along with a cabinet, we thought of giving everybody in Senate a commendation for service award, which is basically to recognize your service for the student body at Bemidji State University and being a member of the BSUSA Student Senate. The work that you've done for the improvement of the student body. So if you don't mind taking me a little more time walking around, giving this to you personally and shaking your hand, then I'll just do that. And I also got pins for you. So I know that people want these pins, so.
Yes. Academic affairs, they're not. It's in the Bible. Oh, I'm really, I'm probably gonna start coming, I'll probably try to come to at least every other meeting. As a group. These are more about
I'm already like,
it's gonna, I just wanna go to the office.
here.
I love it.
So, oh, yeah, Tim's open.
I got the file. What is this? It is from my
That's just there.
I was reading that, and I got like, I'm
Yeah.
doing a reference.
Because I may not have yours twice.
Oh. Balancing challenge and support, a study of degrees, disciplinary insight, and personality type. Challenges, support, and resilience, oh my good gracious. Did you do it on purpose that you gave me part of the?
I didn't want to.
I started thinking about that and I realized like, oh,
I love it.
It's gonna be awesome.
I should spend my time on just to make me feel bad.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm just saying.
You alive?
I feel like I should. Qualify that I have to do it, yes.
Sometimes try to read really.
Yeah, my grandma did that.
For the record, this was staff Andrew's idea. So if I'm taking too long, I got it.
Yeah, that's fine. Throw me under the bus. It's gone by in about 5 minutes.
Oh, Mia, after the meeting,
I'm gonna
we
wait.
can talk to you about graduation.
Yeah.
Who's the Grand Marshal?
Don't you like this?
I don't know.
Is it Dr. Bolton?
Yes.
It's always been Dr. Bolton. I think it's.
I don't know, I've never graduated. It's probably look a little different. It's
Yeah.
a little bit different
Yeah.
typing out there.
Once we retire, then he'll have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, who do I talk to?
I am the last person, so
I know. This is,
Depends on what you're talking about.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after the meeting.
About who what?
I'll talk to you about it after the meeting.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Probably depends. The records office does the planning of it,
Yeah, we're planning the event.
but I would say executive leadership team, like, obviously.
I'm
going to put it on my
they
photo.
approve everything that's going on.
Yeah, I need to talk to who. So,
Really shovel it up.
okay, there's a lot
Guy
of,
Grant,
I mean, I know there's a lot of people involved in it.
but it might depend on what you're talking about.
You know
what?
Bell, right?
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Why?
Doing what?
Good for the tradition since.
What she said, she said we were trailblazers. She said, don't look to.
Yeah, well, I'll fill you in now.
The trail.
So,
So,
I think in the morning, we had traditions where when one of our members graduates.
Really?
We ring a bell.
Why?
And that's happened for years and years and years. And years. It's something that our members have done too when we graduate.
You gotta have that good.
oh, that's okay.
And there was a whole bustling math crossing. You call it someone names and stuff like that.
I know, that's what I'm gonna do.
And so we want to make sure that this continues to happen. It didn't happen last year. I would like to make it happen again.
Can't you guys just go and do it?
Apparently not, because that's what we've been doing. And it was an issue. So this year, we're trying to take the right steps and,
Give people a heads up, so this marching in there doing it.
yeah, to make sure it's allowed to happen. Because we don't want to show up to again and be like, rejected. We showed up and they said, get that out of there.
With visor hat off, I wonder, I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, I like it. We like working in higher education, if it's sort of one of those like, you would actually ask, that's how you know. You know what I mean, versus like.
Oh my gosh.
Especially we've been like not asking and just doing.
Yeah.
And then we got told no.
It was a joke.
See, I feel like you might be the type of man to shut it down. Alright. If you want my honest opinion, but I'll talk to you a little bit after.
Can I please get your attention? So, I'd like to take this time to congratulate our new executive-elects. First of all, Vice President Stockman, congratulations on becoming the Vice President again. Congratulations to the new student body president-elect, Connor Newby. I will now give the floor to the president-elect Newby to say a few words.
Yes. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank you all for all the hard work you've done this year, and thank you for all the support you've given me. To kind of echo off of what Vice President Stockton said, you guys have really been my motivation for keeping up with this organization, and seeing all the hard work and time and dedication you all have put in has inspired me to move up the ladder. And I'm just so humbled at this position and where it's taken. I know I have very big shoes to fill with President Ula and what all he's done and all he's accomplished. And I hope to take forward his administration, what he's done, and build on it and make it our own, and make it my own administration, and kind of just continue with the fantastic work we've done and continue on improving the student body and the student center overall, and really just be the voice of the students. Thank you.
Now is the time for the tradition of taking my name card down. I would ask, yeah, it's a camera. You have the camera, right?
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, you look nice.
Yeah, so for Snapchat.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you should live stream
Well, what you do if I didn't move your office? Yeah, so we don't mind.
Yeah, so like right in front of where you're at, right there.
Go over there.
I don't need no drama in my life.
Don't go around, go open.
Or slide, Harvard slide it.
That's right.
Oh, it was my alarm.
Right over here.
Then what she said.
Wait, I'm still.
Before I hand this gavel over, I'd like to say that this responsibility is not just a title, it's a trust that the student body has bestowed upon you as the newly elected student body president. You're going to take office on the 4th of May, and I hope that you will fulfill the duty of being the president and representing the students at Bemidji State University. And I wish you all the good luck. And I want to just say that I have no doubt that you will do a wonderful job and be the official voice of students at BSU. Here's the gavel. Thank you, sir. You want me to take another picture with you? You want to sit fast?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Live action.
You're right, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and so you're not blocking it down.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Okay.
Other way around. Other way around.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you getting my
Round of applause.
I feel like you should be enough.
That makes you look
Now, President-elect Newby will take over as the presiding officer.
Where will you sit?
in the gallery.
Galleries are no longer in.
Until the 4th of May. Until the 4th of May.
Thank you, President Ula.
Thank you.
Call this meeting back in. Seeking a motion to adjourn. Senator Hamburg. Is there a second? Is there any dissent to this motion to adjourn? Okay. Adjourn. Thank you all so much.
Congratulations to our graduates.
Thank you so much, graduates.